Honorable Chair, esteemed adjudicators, ladies and gentlemen, if you listen carefully to the proposition, you'll notice that they're actually not debating today's motion. Today's debate is not about whether poor people deserve jobs or not. It is not about whether degrees are expensive, nor is it about whether the employers should discriminate against people without university qualifications. Today, the motion asks about one simple question. Should universities place significant emphasis on preparing their students to succeed in the workforce when they graduate? And our answer is an univocal yes. Because universities have many purposes. It is to advance our knowledges, to cultivate our critical thinking, and shape the way we are supposed to be a responsible citizen. But none of these goals are achieved if graduates leave university without being able to sustain themselves or contribute meaningfully in the society. And today, opposition will prove three things. First, why employability is a fundamental responsibility of higher education. Second, why proposition fundamentally misunderstands what employability actually means. And third, why our world creates a greater opportunity, especially for disadvantaged students. First, employability is the bridge between the education and opportunity, because universities are not museums of knowledge. They are institutions designed to transform learning into meaningful impacts. Because knowledge becomes valuable where it can be applied. And research becomes meaningful when it solves real-world problems. Ideas matter when someone has the skill to implement them. And this is exactly what employability achieves. Employability is not just about getting jobs. It means that universities deliberately teach students how to solve problems, how to communicate, how to collaborate with others, and find critical ways to solve problems. And without this, education risks becoming disconnected from the real world, the realities that students have to face when they graduate. And proposition asks us to believe that universities should care less about whether graduates can succeed after leaving campus, which we think is very irresponsible. Because students invest years of their lives, a lot of financial resources, and a lot of trust into these higher educations. And the university owe them more than just knowledges. They owe them the ability to use them in their life, in the real world. Our second substantial argument is how the proposition side of the house confuses employability with credentialism. Judge, this is the biggest mistake in their entire case. Throughout their speech, proposition repeatedly argue that employers demand degrees, master qualification, and PhDs. But that is not employability, that is credentialism. Employability is much broader. It's internship, career guidance, leadership development, industry placement, teamwork, and professional ethics. And ironically, the proposition side of the house spends almost half of their speech explaining why these soft skills are so important. And yes, we do agree, but those soft skills are exactly what employability-focused universities teach. So their own analysis supports our side of the debate. Our third argument is our model promotes equality instead of privilege. Proposition side of the house repeatedly argues that employability hurts poor students, and we think the opposite is true. You can ask yourself, who already has access to internships through family connections? Who already has professional network? Who can afford months of unpaid work experiences, and who can rely on family businesses if employment becomes difficult? It's clearly and overwhelmingly the wealthy. Because for the first generation university students and those from disadvantaged backgrounds, universities are often the only institution capable of providing them the career that they want to pursue, like the networking opportunities, the internships, the mentorships, and the direct pathway to employment. And if the universities reduce their emphasis on employability, then these opportunities will just disappear. Ex- ex- Especially for those who need them the most, because the wealthy continue on to rely on their private networks, their connections, and what the poor just loses the bridge the bridge to connect and pursue their careers. And this makes inequality worse, not better. And responding to the proposition side of the house, notice that they never demonstrate why employability itself causes the unemployment. Their entire case rests on the claim that education is expensive. And yes, we agree that the access to education remains unequal, but removing employability does nothing to solve that problem. And if tuition is expensive, then we should expand scholarships. If access is unequal, then we should improve public education. And if opportunities are limited, we should increase the financial support for these students. But none of these solutions require university to become less effective at preparing the students for employment, and they are attacking the wrong problem. Finally, the proposition also argues that people can simply learn everything through YouTube or ChatGPT. And information is not education. Watching a surgery tutorial does not make someone a surgeon, and reading about engineering does not qualify someone to design a bridge and judge. This debate ultimately asks what responsibility universities owe their students. Proposition offers an idealistic vision in which universities care less about preparing the students for employment because they believe that the labor market should simply lower its standards, and we reject that vision. Our side recognizes that employability is not the enemy of education, but it is what allows education to improve the lives of others. And by combining these expertise with critical thinking, communication, leadership, it empowers these graduates to not only find employment but really contribute meaningfully to society, because our model creates opportunity without sacrificing the academic excellence. And because it fulfills the responsibility these universities have towards every student who places their future in their hands, which is why we proudly oppose. Thank you.